Today I'm going to install Talon on my Linux machine. Talon is a program that allows me to control my computer entirely without hands. This is important to me because my hands don't work very well and I use a computer for my job. Being able to use a computer without hands means I have a lot less pain throughout the day. Talon has a free version that has everything I need to control my computer without hands, and I am going to download that free version today. The first thing I do is go to my web browser and go to talonvoice.com. I go halfway down the page, find the documentation link, and click it. After that, I find the link with the installation instructions, which is this Getting Started link. The Getting Started section contains the installation instructions for Talon, and I start following them. Step 1. Download and install Talon for my operating system. The Talon link will take me to a page with options to download links for every operating system Talon currently supports, Mac OS, Linux, and Windows. I am going to choose the Download for Linux link because I am downloading this on my Linux machine. I click that link, and it pops up a window saying I have chosen to open talon-linux.tar.xc, and then it asks, what should Firefox do with this file? The default is Open with Archive Manager. I am fine with this default, so I press OK. Talon is now downloading. The Archive Manager now has a folder named Talon in it. I want to extract Talon to my home folder. I hit the Extract button in the upper left-hand corner. It pops up a dialog asking me where I want to extract it, with the default being my home directory. Since I am okay with the default, I go down to the lower right-hand corner of this dialog and press Extract. Once the extraction is done, it will say extraction completed successfully, and will ask if there's a Show the Files button. I click that. This opens a file explorer with 5 files in it. As you can see, the Talon folder has been installed in my home directory, and these 5 files are all of the stuff that I need in order to run Talon. So now I need to go back to the directions. Step 2. Run the Talon app. The part of these instructions that is not obvious for a Linux system is that in order to run the Talon app, I need to double-click on run.sh in the Talon folder. That will pop up a window saying, do you want to run run.sh? And I do. And specifically, I want to choose the Run in Terminal button. I press the Run in Terminal button, and that brings up my terminal. The very first time when Talon is installing itself, it needs the admin password in order to be able to set up things to make eye tracking with the Toby work. So I am going to enter my admin password. And Talon will continue running. Talon is now officially running, and you can tell this 2 ways. First, if you started it with a terminal, you can see a whole bunch of stuff in the terminal. Second, in the lower right-hand corner of your window is your system tray, and Talon appears as a little set of white horns in your system tray. Now there's 2 more parts to Talon that I need to install in order for it to work as a voice control system. I go back to the instructions. Step 3 is to open the Talon home directory. Talon has a menu in my system tray near the clock, and I can click on that, go to scripting, and then go to open ~/.talon to open the Talon home directory. This completes step 3. And then there's another step 3 in these getting started instructions, which says add some scripts to ~/.talon/.user, which over here is the user folder, to add voice commands and other behavior to Talon. User scripts control all of the voice commands in Talon, so Talon will not recognize any commands until it has some scripts. The Getting Scripts section is right below the Getting Started section, and it has exactly two sentences. The best way to start right now is to clone the ~_talon script set into your ~/.talon/user directory. So I click on the ~_talon link, and that takes me to a GitHub page with the ~_talon scripts. A little bit of background on this script set. It started as the personal script set of Jeff Naus, who was an early user of Talon, and it has grown into the default Talon configuration file. It's maintained by about a dozen people, and it's the one that is recommended by not only the official installation instructions, but by pretty much everyone, because it is the biggest, the most robust, the most consistently maintained, and the most cross-platform script set. To download it, I go to the green code button and I copy this GitHub link. Then I go and open a new terminal, and in the terminal I change directories to Talon home. So that would be cd ~.talon, and then I want the user directory, so I add user at the end, and then I type git clone and paste the link I just copied into the terminal. By the way, Linux uses Shift-Control-V to paste as the keyboard shortcut instead of Control-V, which I found confusing. So now, if I go back to my user directory, I have a script set in there. So Talon now has a set of commands to respond to. Now it's time to go back to my instructions and go to step 4. Install Conformer using Talon's speech recognition menu. The third component to a Talon installation is a speech recognition menu, which very roughly takes your spoken words and turns them into written words so that Talon can compare those written words against your commands and run stuff. So to install this engine, I go down to the Talon icon, I go to speech recognition, and it says no speech engine loaded. I'm going to try that again because that menu didn't appear correctly. Well, I'm going to quit Talon to try and get the menu to appear correctly. And then I am going to go back to Talon, double click run.sh, click run in terminal, boot up Talon again, and now we'll try that menu thing again. And now the menu appears properly so that I can see that not only is there no speech engine loaded, but it gives me options to install Conformer. Conformer is the recommended engine to install. I would ignore the other one. It's the best, it's the most accurate, and it's basically state-of-the-art. I click Install Conformer. So that turned the Talon icon briefly into this blue circle, and it said downloading. Downloading, downloading, downloading. The Talon icon will disappear for a minute, as things are downloading. And then it gives us a message saying installed conformer B108, Talon Sleep. And I'm going to quit Talon and restart it, because when you download the speech engine, it doesn't always run correctly immediately, but it does after a restart. Talon Sleep. Talon Sleep. Alright, and that was the very first successful command I have given to Talon. Talon Sleep puts Talon to sleep, as evidenced by this slash mark through the Talon icon. Talon arrives woken up and ready to respond to commands, and if you don't know what you're doing to start out with, you have no idea what the command words are, and Talon will start responding to what you're saying even though you don't know what you're doing. Since Talon is complete voice control over your system, that means that you're doing things to the computer that you don't know what you're doing. And so the very first command most people want to learn is how to put Talon to sleep. But after they do that, the next thing they want to do is learn how to use Talon. So let's go back to the documentation and to the next section, Learning Talon. The Talon Practice by Chaos Parrot is a beginner course in the very basics of Talon, everything from the Talon alphabet all the way up to browsing the web. I would recommend reading these first couple of paragraphs because it will tell you important things like Talon Sleep and how to start up your Talon installation again by saying Talon Wake. After you get done with these lessons, you probably are going to want to learn more. So I would go back to talonvoice.com, and there is a chat link at the top. This chat takes you to the Talon Slack, which is a community of a couple thousand people, a couple dozen of which are pretty active, and they are very helpful in explaining things, in giving help, and in helping you learn how to completely control your computer with your voice. So that is a successful installation of Talon on a Linux system, and I wish you happy voice controlling. As a final note, if you want to have Talon start up without having to press run.sh every time you log in, check the Start on Login button.